Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with today's trading action. All right, now a little bit earlier than usual because there's a lot of things happening today. We've got the Aussie inflation numbers in particular, which will be coming out in about just over 3 hours, right? And that's obviously key to the next sort of move in the Aussie dollar. But there's a fair bit going on, right? If I just come back to the charts, the hourly charts, right? When you start to see a big flush out of the market, right? We saw this, Monday morning the announcement of the US EU deal, euros going up against everything, and then it just crashes, right? And the dollar has really bounced back. With the sort of main sort of thinking is, when Trump issued the tariffs, the dollar got crushed on the expectations it was going to screw up everything, but that doesn't seem to have happened. And now we're almost finished with the tariffs. So I think he wants to do a deal with Russia and still confirm China. We've seen a reversal of that, right? But you can sort of see now it takes a good day or so for it to happen, but it looks like we've seen the move, right? This is now like ground zero. This is fair value, and like there's some interesting things happening, and this like change in the dollar sentiment happened especially with some sort of major sort of economic woes in the UK. The UK has been sort of belted, and I tell you what, you asked me a week ago when this thing had, one, two, three, four good support trend lines. It's going to have to be something big to push it through that. And it's done it, right? But don't think about what you've missed, right? Because it's very hard to judge the move down. Like, what is the catalyst? When did it go? Well, we know if you were trading technically, you would have been looking at these levels here. But this is the thing, right? Hindsight's a great thing because if you're looking at the long-term levels, this uptrend in euro has been a delight for many traders globally, and you wouldn't think it was going to break. If anything, we've just had a little bit of a flush out on the downside. So it's like a forest burning down, right? It comes back stronger, more life, etc. So that's what we're sort of seeing here. I would start to expect some consolidation here, right? Not today, but tomorrow we've got the Fed. They'll tell us a lot about what they are thinking about the dollar and everything else. I still think there's a lot of uncertainty around the tariffs and what implications it can have for inflation, GDP growth, and all that sort of stuff. So we really need to wait for that. But I would say right now, these are the lows, and for the dollar pairs at the top, probably the highs for the dollar just at the moment, right? I just don't see any reason to be going any further, right? You look at your daily charts. As I said, there's been a little bit of a flush out of stop losses. And once again, this is good. It gets rid of all the stale positions in the market. You get fresh positions coming on the next move. The fundamentals will tell us what to do next, right? So if you're sitting there wondering, hell, like I just can't make odds and ends of the charts, well, just relax. Everyone's in the same boat. And it's just a matter of going back through your charts and recalibrating everything, right? So like these trend lines here, you could basically, on sterling, you could get rid of those. Now we've got this low coming from the original low. I can sort of put this across to where it is since it's bounced off that low. We've got a new low level there. And then you're looking at sort of just piece it together. Where's resistance at the moment, right? And I'll put a little red on that. And this is as simple as it is, right? You can be drawing trend lines, trying to work out which ones are valid, which ones aren't. And that's the sort of key to sort of working out where we go from here, right? So the fundamentals will tell us exactly what's going on, whether this keeps going down or if it comes back strong to the top side. I don't see the dollar sort of falling over, but I don't see it rallying too much further either. Okay, or much further, I should say. So just keep an eye on things as we go forward. Okay, because today, as I said, we've got the Aussie inflation numbers. Very important for, whether the central bank RBA cuts interest rates, maybe at the next meeting. The market is expecting something like that. We've got GDP growth and out of the Eurozone, out of Germany as well, as also out of the US. There's a bunch of sentiment numbers out of the EU at the same time. Comes at a pretty good time, right? Where Euro is in limbo, trying to work out what's going on. But and then you got to come down to the main event, right? The central bank meetings are the main event. And today it's the Bank of Canada. Tomorrow it's the Fed, right? No change of rate decision here expected, right? So this makes it a little bit trickier because at the time of the rate decision, they will release a statement, which basically is a pre-written sheet, which basically they read out and say, this is why we haven't changed rates because of X, Y, and Z, and that's it, right? The press conference, right? This is a separate event, 45 minutes later. So just understand these are two separate events, and the press conference is where the action will be. Because there's no change of rates, the press conference, the journos will be in there asking them, why didn't you cut rates? Why are you going to cut rates? What's going on? This is all looking a little bit crazy to me. And they are under pressure. And you sometimes get obviously unrehearsed answers to questions, to hard questions. So just keep an eye on that. The CAD and the CAD crosses will be very important, right? So what instruments do we look at today? Well, look at the Aussie and Aussie crosses, okay? The major currency pairs, I think they're a little bit hard at the moment. So maybe the Euro crosses, if you're looking at the Euro GDP numbers, and the CAD, well, CAD, dollar CAD and CAD crosses. And that's where you come back to your charts and go, what's going on in dollar CAD? I haven't seen too much going on. Well, I can tell you what, there's a fair bit going on, right? Now, the dollar has just screamed to the top side, and this green line is oil, right? And I've inverted oil on this side. So this means oil is going up, even though it's inverted. That's a mismatch. So either the dollar CAD comes back down or oil falls. I can't see oil falling at this point. So you know what? It creates a little bit of uncertainty there where dollar CAD goes. It probably will catch up with that move in oil, right? Then that move in oil came about through the EU US deal, right? Anyway, there's a few strange things happening, but it only takes a day or so for everything to settle down. And that's where the calendar comes into play. We've got a bunch of things coming out. The key for most of the big markets, obviously the US as well, will be the Fed interest rate decision. No change of rates expected. So let's just keep an eye on the calendar, right? Because it's going to be sort of busy. And if I just come over here to trading economics, you can easily sort of map it out where the key events are. Now, these ones here, yeah, GDP is important, but it's not the be all and end all. I'd say that's a medium impact just at the moment. This up here, right? Some of the calendars don't get it right. Inflation rate is a very high impacting event, okay, in Australia today. Then you got the US GDP numbers, and then there's the Bank of Canada down the bottom there, right? So this is the shape of the fundamentals today, which now the markets are settling down a bit. We have a chance. And don't forget, you want to book in or bookmark the Fed interest rate decision. That's coming out, later on. Thursday morning in Asia, Wednesday afternoon in the US, right? So that's where we are. It's going to be sort of interesting to see what's going on. If you look at the various news services, right, they will be sort of talking about, this is where a big event gets close. They start talking about it, and it's what the Fed are going to be doing. Okay, there's that's the sort of next focal point. So where does the dollar go from here? Well, we'll get some answers from the Fed. You're looking at the markets. The US yields, Treasury bonds yields are lower, right? That should see the dollar go down, right? But we're not seeing that just at the moment. And equity markets go up, right? So the markets, when you see a big clean out, a big flush out, there's a bit of discombobulation across the various markets. Everything settles down, and then we start again. The big question is, do we buy dollars or sell dollars, right? It's going to have an impact on euro, sterling, Aussie, Kiwi, and everything else, right? The Fed's the big event. Hold onto your hats and we'll see how it plays out, right? Just keep an eye on those, like the signals at the moment are pretty confused, right? I've got the guys, there's a bit of an issue with some of the yen crosses, which I've got the guys sort of trying to work that out. But there are some trades here at the moment. Sterling Aussie, sterling Kiwi. I love, sterling has been in the doldrums, but it's worth investigating because it's a pretty clear signal. If sterling's going up against the Aussie, it's definitely going up against the Kiwi. So keep an eye on that one. All right, guys, have a good one. All the best. Cheerio.